Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome back to the fall campaign for Arkham Horror, the card game. Last week when we went through Returned It in the Clutches of Chaos, we picked up 3 unrestricted experience. We also picked up 4 additional experience, but we A, had to spend that experience on spell, ritual, witch, or sorcerer cards, and B, had to take an omen, curse, pact, or silver twilight weakness. We spent most of the experience. Both of them took the spells of old experience, but Jacqueline left 1 unrestricted experience floating. Now on Halloween Eve, everything over the last 2 months has led to this. Today, we face our final showdown with Azathoth in the final scenario of the fall campaign, Return to Before the Black Throne. First up, let's set the scene.
Scenario 8, Before the Black Throne. Onward and onward, your steed carries you into the inky nightmare of the void beyond. You dare not turn and look behind you, for you know that what you see will likely break your heart, or perhaps your mind. Great polypus horrors slide darkly amidst the blackness and loneliness of the cosmos. You had hoped to marvel at a beautiful, glimmering array of stars, but instead you are left with an empty pit in your stomach, as the unabated vastness of the dark, cold universe looms before you. In the distance, a far-off melody rings its chords, a melody you could not possibly recreate in your universe with any known instrument, nor could your ears interpret its notes were it not ringing in your head this very moment. There is a rush of air as you breach the turret of a nightmarish onyx barrier and descend into an infinite cavern of black stone and impossible architecture. The music grows as you plunge unswerving through an impossible valley, through shoals of shapeless beings, and between things that lurk and dance in the blackness beyond. You cannot help but listen to the strange music, committing each terrible, dissonant note to memory. No thought or dream of humanity can reach you here. In this place that was long ancient when Earth was born, you can only hope to guide your steed to the place where you must go, the throne upon which Azathoth itself sits.
Okay, that's going to be all kinds of fun. Speaking of Azathoth, before we go into the tarot reading, we do need to meet our not-so-friendly blind idiot god. Azathoth, the primal chaos. No stats anywhere. Azathoth is oblivious and omnipotent. It is immune to all player card effects and investigator actions and can't be defeated by any means. Forced, if there is 10 or more doom on Azathoth, the blind idiot god rises from its throne in the ultimate void of chaos and devours the universe. Resolution 1. 3 damage and 3 sanity on attack. Hopefully he won't be attacking us too much, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself there. Now that And when I teach a game in the Arkham Horror files, with the exception of this one, Azathoth is usually the ancient one I pull out since he makes the game nice and simple. Usually when he wakes up, the game just comes to an end in investigator defeat, so it makes a good introductory opponent for these games, in my opinion. This version is not one I'd mess around with trying to teach, but that's like rambling aside. Next, we can go ahead and remind everyone of what our tarot reading is. So on the good side, we left Justice 11, so we get to cancel the first doom that would be placed on the final agenda of the game. On the bad side, we flipped Judgment 20. So when the game begins, replace the highest non-negative token in the Chaos bag with a skull. Swap them back after the game ends. As part of setup last night, I did take the +1 out of the bag and swap it with a skull. I'm largely going to be leaning on Jacqueline's special ability here when I need it to be able to duck skulls. But anyway. So next up we can take a look at opening hands. Mandy is our lead investigator this scenario, and that will come into play once we move over to the map. I'll explain how when we get over there. So first up is a tarot card that she'll get to have in play. Death 13, Free from the Past. Normally it would be a 3 cost to play, except we get +1 lore, and because of the reaction ability, when the game begins, if Death 13 is in your opening hand, put it into play. Let go. And embrace a new truth. So we'll just go ahead and put that in play. Technically, it's not actually the start of the game, but nothing else is going to impact her hand, so we're not too worried about that. Next up, we have another asset, which I'm not sure how useful it'll be until maybe a little bit later. But again, I'll explain more about why I'm wondering how useful it's going to be until later. Come on, you do not want to focus, do you? There we go. Pathfinder. 3 cost to play, agility on commit. Reaction, during your turn, if you're not engaged with any enemies, exhaust Pathfinder, move to a connecting location. Then we have Burning the Midnight Oil. 0 cost to play, lore and agility on commit. Investigate. When this action begins, gain 2 resources. Deduction, level 2. 2 lore on commit. If this skill test is successful while investigating a location, discover 1 additional clue at that location, 2 instead if you succeed by 2 or more. And survey the area. While it's in your hand or committed to a skill test, gains lore icons equal to your agility, which is 3, and agility equal to your lore, which right now is 6. So that'll be a very helpful agility commit if we need it. Jacqueline's opening hand. Similar to Mandy, she'll actually get her tarot card in play as well. 4 of Cups, Chalice of the Heart. Get +1 will. When the game begins, if it's in your hand, put it into play. Seek clarity in your heart and mind. So Jacqueline will get that in play as well. Then we have her Prophetic. Come on. Which is a 3 cost to play, 2 will on commit. Uses 2 resources. Replenish these resources at the start of each round. Resources on Prophetic may be spent to pay for Fortune, Spell, or Spirit cards. Reaction, as a fast action during a skill test on same, spend a resource from Prophetic. You get +1 skill value for this test. Then we have our other asset. Crystal Pendulum, which we'll actually get to see for the first time. 2 cost to play, will on commit. You get +1 will. Reaction, after a skill test of your location begins, exhaust Crystal Pendulum, name a number. If this test succeeds by that amount or fails by that amount, draw 1 card. Next up we have Storm... Come on. Storm of Spirits level 3. 3 cost to play, lore, 2 combat on commit. Fight, using will instead of combat, +2 will for this attack and deal 3 damage to everything instead of standard damage. Any additional damage to the attacked enemy. But if you pull a bad symbol, deal 2 damage to each investigator at your location. And Drawn to the Flame. 0 cost to play, will and lore on commit. Draw the top card of the encounter deck, then discover 2 clues at your location. Now, I should mention, you can see it on the scenario reference card, but we do have 2 resources on there as part of setup last night. It instructed us to put for each tally mark next to the pathwinds before you. We place 1 resource on the scenario reference card. Now, return does give us a use for those references right now, which I'm probably not going to take. I have a feeling I'll need those resources later, so I don't want to use them now. But anyway. The return card says, when the game begins, the investigators may remove 2 resources to have this from the scenario reference card to have each investigator begin the game with a Nightgaunt Steed story asset in play. Remove each remaining one from the game. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at Nightgaunt Steed, but I don't think I'm going to take it, just because that would clean my 2 resources off of the scenario reference card, and I think I'm going to need them. Nightgaunt Steed. While you control Nightgaunt Steed, you may enter empty space as if it were a location. But after you enter empty space, Nightgaunt Steed takes 1 direct damage. Forced if it leaves play, removed from the game, and moved to the nearest revealed location. 3 damage on soak. So yeah, we'd have to be very careful about that. But anyway, now let's take a look at the Act and Agenda decks, and we'll start with the Agenda first. Wheel of Fortune 10. One end is another beginning. Change is the only constant. Your ultimate fate is at hand. Each location is connected to each location adjacent to it. Do not remove doom from enemies when this agenda advances, and we need 4 to advance with 3 agendas in play. I am going to count that out. And then our starting act. "1A, the cosmos beckons. From the horizonless breach in the gaping maw of the sky, you have traveled an impossible distance, and yet you are still many leagues from the knighted throne where Azathoth stirs. Action, spend X clues. Draw the top X cards of the cosmos, choose 1 to put into play, using its cosmos instructions, and move to it. Shuffle the rest back into the cosmos. Objective, only investigators at Hideous Palace may spend the requisite number of clues as a group to advance. Beware, any investigator who is not there will be killed. And we need 2 clues to advance." So, last up, Mandy and Jacqueline will move over to the map, so let's join the ladies over there. As you can see, I'm not using the connecting arrows for this scenario because like the opening agenda mentioned, orthogonal adjacency is what we're going with here. But anyway, so the 6 cards you see from Mandy's deck are all empty space that we were instructed to use during setup. So when we put a location into play via the Cosmos effect on the act, we'll shuffle that card back into Mandy's deck. But hopefully I'll explain more about how building the empty space will work. Basically, the long story short on that, if there's an active investigator, we use cards from that investigator's deck to create the empty space. If there's not, we'll default to our lead investigator, who's going to be Mandy. But anyway, let's take a look at our starting location. Cosmic Ingress. That eldritch scaly monster bore its helpless rider, hurtling and shooting, cleaving the outermost rim and spanning the outermost abysses, leaving behind the stars and the realms of matter, and darting meteor-like through stark formlessness toward those inconceivable, unlighted chambers beyond time. H.P. Lovecraft, The Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath. This flips into Shroud of 2, 3 clues. Forced. At the end of the round, add clues to Cosmic Ingress until it has 3 clues on it. Each void location gains as an action. Shuffle this location into the cosmos, moving each investigator and enemy that was at this location to Cosmic Ingress. So we'll get the 3 clues out for that. So now we do need to keep an eye on potentially shuffling the cosmos locations back in. But anyway, we're into our first investigation phase now. Let's get started with Mandy, and we'll stay right here at the map. In an ideal world, we'll be able to make 2 straight connections to the right and be able to explore both of these locations so we can find which one actually is the... Where do we need to be? Hideous Palace. And ideally, we also don't want to split Mandy and Jacqueline up if we can avoid it, but I'm getting ahead of myself there. Before we take Mandy's first action, we'll exhaust Ancestral Knowledge to draw a card from under it. So Mandy will draw Eureka. Will, Lore, Agility on Commit. If the skill test is successful, the investigator performing this test searches the top 3 cards of their deck for a card, draws it, and shuffles their deck. I'm actually going to save that, but Mandy for action 1 will investigate. I don't really know that I want to... Actually, we'll be a derp. We'll actually be useful, and we'll use Investigate, Burning the Midnight Oil. It would also help if I give them their starting resources, wouldn't it? So Mandy's going to go straight to 7. Jacqueline will get 5 resources for start of game. Do I want to commit deduction? Do I want to commit a deduction right away to try to get all those clues in one shot? It's a Shroud of 2. I'm up 4. No, I'm not going to worry about it. So Mandy's up 4. There's a -1 to get her a clue. Action 2, we'll run that back. Skull, let's take a look at the scenario card. -X. X is half the doom on Azathoth rounded up to a minimum of 2. So it looks like the X is a minimum -2 if I'm understanding that correctly, and I think I am. Which is still not enough to fail Mandy, so we get another clue. Then action 3, I will spend a clue to draw the top card of the Cosmos deck. So we'll take a quick look at the flavor text on the Cosmos card locations because they'll all be the same on this side. The stars danced mockingly, almost shifting now and then to form pale signs of doom that one had not seen and feared before, and ever the winds of ether howled of vague blackness and loneliness beyond the cosmos. H.P. Lovecraft, The Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath. This flips into Cosmos. You must either shroud a 2-1 clue. You must either connect above or take 2 horror and connect from you must either connect above or take 2 horror and connect to the topmost revealed location in a direction of your choice. As an action, remove 1 resource from the scenario reference card. Move the placement of Flight into Oblivion once upward, placing an empty space in the spot previously occupied. Group limit once per game. As much as I wanted to make a straight right connection, I think I'll commit to going above first. So Mandy will move up there. That will be the end of her turn in the investigation phase. We'll get a clue there. And then I'll shuffle this back into Mandy's deck. And then that will do it for Mandy. Jacqueline, for 2 resources, she'll go ahead and play out her Crystal Pendulum that we saw in the opening hand. That's action 1. Action 2, she'll move up to Mandy. And then action 3, she'll investigate. She's only up 1, but Mandy's going to give her Eureka to put her up 2. And this will let Jacqueline do the searching. A 0 means Jacqueline gets the clue, and she'll get to search the top 3. She'll get to search her deck. The only questions are how deep am I going, and how many targets am I taking? What do I even want right now? I think I'm going to send her 3 deep for 2 targets. So card 1 for Jacqueline. Emergency Cash, gain 3 resources and draw a card. That's tempting. Card 2. Arcane Studies, 2 cost to play, 2 will, 2 lore on commit. Uses 2 resources, replenish those resources at the start of the round. Action, spend 1 resource from your pool or from Arcane Studies. You get +1 will or +1 lore for the skill test. And Occult Theory, while it's in your hand or committed to a skill test, it gains will equal to your lore and lore equal to your will. So Jacqueline's in a similar situation with that. But I think she'll take Emergency Cash and Occult Theory. We'll give those a shuffle. And a cut. And then that will do it for Jacqueline. That will do it for the investigation phase. I'll finish moving cards around here. Enemy phase, first round of the game, so there are no enemies in play right now. But anyway, we'll go ahead and reset everything. And then we'll move back up top for the upkeep phase. Mandy will gain 1 resource and go to 8, if I can ever... There you are. Jacqueline will gain 1 resource and go to 4. Mandy will draw. Occult Lexicon. This is very beautiful. 2 cost to play, 2 lore on commit. Limit 1 per deck. Reaction, when you play a copy of Bloodright, either change each 2 to a 3 or shuffle it into your deck instead of discarding it. Forced, after it enters play, search your bonded cards for 3 copies of Bloodright. Add 1 to your hand and shuffle the other 2 into your deck. Then Jacqueline draws. Read the signs. 2 cost to play, will and lore on commit. Investigate, adding your will value to your skill value for the investigation. You may ignore any effect or keyword on your location which would trigger during the investigation. If you succeed, discover 1 additional clue. So it looks like we're going to need a lot of clues here. Anyway, Mythos phase, we put our first Doom on the agenda. Mandy draws. A World in Darkness. If there's no Doom on Azathoth, a World in Darkness gains Surge. There is no Doom on Azathoth, so this gains Surge, this is still Mandy's card. She draws. Acolyte. Spawn at any empty location. Forced. After Acolyte enters play, place 1 Doom on it. It was only a small sacrifice. Where do I want to put the Acolyte? I'll put it at the top cosmos that we're heading toward. Because I'm probably playing the Occult Lexicon this round, so I can get ready for that. Jacqueline draws. Whispered Bargain. Oh boy. You must either choose 1. Place 1 Doom on Azathoth, or Azathoth attacks you. There was the immemorial figure of the deputy of or messenger of hidden and terrible powers. H.P. Lovecraft, The Dreams in the Witch House. Well, given that I don't want Jacqueline taking 3 and 3 right now, I think we have to place a Doom on Azathoth. So we're 1/10 of the way to having the universe devoured. And I want to double check something. I don't think Doom on Azathoth counts as in play. Okay, put Azathoth into play. Okay, so Azathoth is in play. So yeah, that Doom will count, which means we'll be advancing this first agenda and nothing flat. I didn't think about that, but anyway, that will do it for the Mythos phase. Investigation phase now, and Mandy's turn will take us back over to the map. Before we officially start Mandy's turn, we'll exhaust our ancestral knowledge to draw another skill from under it, so Mandy will draw. Another Survey the Area, which we have in her hand. Action 1 from Mandy will be to spend 2 resources to play out her Occult Lexicon. So we just drew that last turn. I'll grab her copies of Bloodright, 2 of which are going into her deck, but we'll take a quick look at one since we're adding it to her hand. Zero cost to play, will, lore, combat, and commit. Bonded to Occult Lexicon. Draw 2 cards or 3 because we have the upgraded Occult Lexicon. Discard up to 2 or 3 cards from your hand. For each card you discard this way, you may either gain a resource or spend a resource to deal 1 damage to an enemy at your location. That action does not provoke attacks of opportunity. So we'll go ahead and shuffle these other 2 Bloodrights in. Oh, and end of round, I forgot to refill the Cosmic Ingress to 3 clues. Alright. That was action 1 for Mandy. Action 2 will be to spend her other clue to place another Cosmos location into play. Ideally, this is a right connection, so Mandy finds. You must either connect below. It's route of 2, 1 clue. You must either connect below or take 2 damage and connect to the bottommost revealed location in a direction of your choice. Oh, jeez. You must either connect directly below, which we can't do, or take 2 damage and connect to the bottommost revealed location in a direction of your choice. As an action, we have to move the placement of the infinity. Move the placement of infinity of darkness. So, connect to the bottommost revealed location in a direction of your choice. So, I think... Okay. Sorry, I gotta think about this. I think this means... It's been a while since I've done this scenario, so... Take 2 damage and connect to the bottommost revealed location in a direction of your choice. So, do we connect down here, or do we connect here? Connect to the bottommost revealed location in a direction of your choice. I feel like we end up connecting here then. We do have to take 2 damage either way. Yeah, I think connect to the bottommost revealed location. Oh boy. Actually no, I think connect to the bottommost revealed location in a direction of your choice. I think we actually can make a right connection here. I think we can connect here, but I'm not completely sure about this. I'm just... Yeah, this... I'd forgotten about how complicated this scenario can get with the connections there. But yeah, having to take 2 damage to make that connection is actually very bad. But anyway, we'll be headed to that Cosmos location to our right shortly. But that won't be this round. Well, it could be this round if I want to use a blood right to deal with it right away, which actually deal with that cultist right away, but that might not be a terrible idea, actually. Just to get him off the board right away. And it lets us find out what location's actually there. So action 2, I think I will bite the bullet and send Mandy over there, which will make friends with the cultist. And then this Cosmos reveals into Hideous Palace. So this is where we need to be. Shroud of 3, 4 clues. Forced. At the end of the round, add clues to Hideous Palace until it has 4 clues on it. Each void location gains same action text as we have before. So we'll get the 4 clues out for that. And then for action 3, Mandy actually is going to use her blood right, just so we can stop this cultist from advancing. And I'm going to shuffle this back into the deck because I only need to do 1 damage to that acolyte. So we'll draw 2 cards. Mandy's first card. Amnesia. Oh boy. Choose and discard all but 1 card from your hand. Wait, where am I? What was I doing? So we finish the action, then we'll have to resolve that weakness. And then second card. Eon Chart. Use 2 costs to play. Lore, Agility, Wildcard on Commit. Uses 3 secrets. During your turn, exhaust Eon Chart and spend 1 secret. Choose and take 2 of the following actions in any order. Move, evade, or investigate. So since I'll be discarding the rest of my hand, I'll start off with a survey of the area and a Pathfinder. Well, gain 1 resource, then immediately spend that resource to defeat the acolyte. Which means the doom comes off, but now what do I need? So blood right does get shuffled back in. But we do have to resolve we will have to resolve amnesia once I finish shuffling the deck up. And we'll give it a cut. Okay. Now, choose and discard all but one card from your hand. I think I need deduction too much right now because I need to be able to find... I'm probably going to need to be able to find a lot of clues in a hurry. But anyway, that will do it for Mandy. Jacqueline will, for 2 actions, shoot over to the Hideous Palace as well. And then for action 3, she will pay 2 resources to read the signs. So she investigates plus will for this investigation. So she's at 9. She's at 9 to 3. She's up 6, trying to discover 2 clues. And I'm going to put Jacqueline's special ability behind this because I want to make sure I can advance the act. So up 6.3 tokens. One, two, three. Okay. Token 1, a 0. Token 2, a -1, and a -1. So we'll cancel both the -1s and get 2 clues off of that location. Which means we will be able to advance the agenda. We'll be able to advance the act next, probably on the next round. But anyway, that will do it for Jacqueline as well. That will do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, Mandy took out our only enemy in play right now. So we'll go ahead and start re-readying everything. And then we'll move back up top for the upkeep phase. Mandy gains 1 resource, goes to 7. Jacqueline gains 1, goes to 3. Mandy draws. Opportunist. Wildcard on commit. Commit only to a skill test you're performing. If you succeed by 3 or more, move Opportunist to your hand after this test instead of discarding it. Jacqueline draws. Internal injury. Oh joy. Put it into play in your threat area. Forced, at the end of your turn, take 1 direct damage, 2 actions to discard it. Fantastic. Then end of round, Hideous Palace refills to 4 clues. Mythos phase, we put our second Doom on the agenda. 3rd in play thanks to Azathoth. Mandy draws. Impending Evils, Peril. You must either take 1 and 1 or put Impending Evils into play next to the agenda deck and it gains Surge. And if there are 3 copies of Impending Evils next to the agenda deck, discard them and advance the current agenda. I think Mandy will take 1 and 1, but we definitely need to be very careful. Mandy can't take an attack from Azathoth, full stop. Unless she gets a soak in play in a hurry. Jacqueline draws. Demonic Piping, Surge. Revelation. If Piper of Azathoth is in play and it's not, deal 1 direct, 1 horror to each investigator at its location and at each connecting location. Otherwise, put it into play next to the agenda deck. If there are 3 copies of Demonic Piping next to the in-play, discard them and spawn the Piper of Azathoth engaged with its prey from any out-of-play area. Great. And then Jacqueline, that surges into Whispered Bargain. Oh boy. Peril. You must either choose 1. Place 1 Doom on Azathoth or Azathoth attacks you. I think we'll put another Doom up on Azathoth, so we're a 5th of the way home now. But anyway, fast action window in the Mythos phase, we're going to be busy. Mandy will exhaust Ancestral Knowledge to draw another skill. She will draw the Eye of Truth. If this is on a Treachery and the test is successful, add that Treachery to the victory display and attach Eye of Truth to it. While attached, the Eye of Truth contributes its skill icons to all tests on copies of the attached Treachery. Okay, and then we have the clues at the Hideous Palace, and both of our investigators are together. So Jacqueline will spend those 2 clues to advance the act. Palace of the Old Ones. Your steed carries you through the entryway of the nightmarish palace, and you are surprised to find the halls inside to be as vast and cavernous as the empty space surrounding it. It is as though the doorway was but the threshold of another universe, as desolate and boundless as the last. Remove cosmic ingress from the game. Shuffle each location in play other than the hideous palace into the cosmos. Each investigator at those locations is left behind and killed. Each enemy at those locations is shuffled into the top 5 cards of the encounter deck. Take the set-aside Court of the Great Old Ones and the top 2 cards of the Cosmos, and shuffle them so you cannot tell which is which. Then put them into play along with empty space as depicted in location placement for Act 2 in the campaign guide. In player order, each investigator draws the top card of the encounter deck. So I'm going to do all of that setup off camera, and we'll move back over to the map so I can show you how everything looks. The map has changed just a little bit, so we still have mostly our same 3x3 grid that we started the scenario with, but now we've also got 2 more Cosmos locations at the top and bottom here. One of those is where we need to go, as we'll take a look at on Act 2A. In Azathoth's domain, your bones shiver violently with the silent, still cold of this empty place. No light penetrates these black halls. No warmth reaches you. No breeze touches your skin. This must be what death feels like, you think morbidly. Action, spend X clues. Draw the top X cards of the Cosmos. Choose 1 to put into play using its Cosmos instructions, and move to it. Shuffle the rest back into the Cosmos. Objective, only investigators at the Court of the Great Old Ones may spend the requisite number of clues as a group to advance. Beware, any investigator who is not there will be killed, as we saw when we advanced the act last time around. But anyway, moving into the investigation phase now, Jacqueline's turn will leave us right here at the map. We're not quite ready to move into the investigation phase yet because because each investigator still has to draw the top card of the encounter deck. So Mandy draws Unavoidable Demise, Revelation, test Agility 2. If you fail, take 2 damage. If you succeed, put Unavoidable Demise into play next to the agenda deck. While Unavoidable Demise is next to the agenda deck, each other copy gets +1 difficulty and deals +1 damage if the test is failed. Mandy's up 1, and this card is about 95% of the reason why I added this to the deck. So we're going to commit the Eye of Truth to this. It's always watching you. Okay, so that brings Mandy up 5, and I'm going to throw Jacqueline's special ability behind it because I do not want this Unavoidable Demise going next to the agenda deck. One, two, three. Let's get them in my hand and get them out. There we go. Alright, so token 1, a +1. Token 2, a -1, and a skull. Well, we can cancel the skull and the -1 and reveal the +1, which means that's passed and that goes in the victory display with the Eye of Truth attached to it. And then Jacqueline draws A World in Darkness. Uh-oh. If there's no Doom on Azathoth, A World in Darkness gains surge, except there's 2 Doom on Azathoth. Otherwise, for each Doom on Azathoth, you must choose 1. Lose a resource, discard a card from your hand, take a horror, or take a damage. Let's look at her hand right now. I will discard Prophetic and take a horror. So that's Jacqueline done. Now we're actually going to stick here at the map, and Jacqueline will actually now fall into her investigation phase. So action 1 will be to spend the clue, and we'll draw the top card of the Cosmos now. So Jacqueline will find Dancer's Mist, Shroud of 3, 2 clues. This is actually perfect. You must either connect to the right or lose 2 resources and connect to an adjacent location in a direction of your choice. Action, after you move to Dancer's Mist, remove 1 resource from the scenario card, move to a connecting location. Which means we can check out this Cosmos location right away if we wanted to at the cost of a resource on the scenario reference card. Which might not be a terrible idea. And I think to save on tempo, actually to get a jump on tempo, I think I will go ahead and spend a resource from the scenario card to move over to this location right away. So here we'll find we struck the jackpot. Shroud of 4, 6 clues. Forced. At the end of the round, add clues to the Great Old Ones. Add clues to the Court of the Great Old Ones until it has 6 clues on it. Each void location gains same action as we had before. So 6 clues there. That is very fortunate that we very much struck gold on that one. Two, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, now do we want to start with the clues right away, or do we want to get rid of internal injury? That's a Shroud of 4. Mandy's probably coming over next turn to help with that. I think Jacqueline will just get rid of internal injury. That way we don't have to start taking a lot of direct damage, because remember, when Azathoth deals 3 and 3 on attack, I want to be able to protect health as much as I can. And these two are a little bit on the fragile side in terms of health. Anyway, that will do it for Jacqueline. Mandy will spend 2 actions to get over to the Court of the Great Old Ones right away. And then action 3, she's at a 5, 6, she's up 2. I'll commit deduction to go up 4, trying to get 3 clues off the location. Elder Sign. Let's take a look at Mandy's Elder Sign. If I can ever get it out here. +0. Search the top 3 cards of your deck for a card and either draw it or commit it to this test if able. Shuffle your deck. I'm going to send her 3 deep and take 2 targets, because she's only got 1 card in hand right now. So card 1... Your Worst Nightmare, which we do not want anything to do with. Card 2. Eon Chart. And Through the Gates. So I have to take a weakness here. I think I'm going to take, well, Eon Chart for sure. And I'm going to take Through the Gates here. Because right now we're not really set up to deal with enemies. So I realize I'm taking a little bit of a risk here. So I draw the top card of my deck. If it's not a weakness, remove that card from the game. Then search my deck, discard pile, hand, and all play areas for each other copy of that card I own, and remove them from the game as well. So I'll shuffle this up. I will get to keep Eon Chart, though, and I'll get 3 clues off the location. That was very helpful. 2, 3. Okay, so we'll shuffle this in. All right, and then the top card of Mandy's deck is Shocking Discovery. So if it's not a weakness, remove that card from the game. So I think we just shuffle. Okay, we drew it, so we do actually shuffle it back into the deck. But again, we got 3 clues off the location, which was the important part. And then that will do it for Mandy. That will do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, we still have no enemies in play, thankfully. So we'll go ahead and ready everything up. And then we'll move back up top for the upkeep phase. Mandy will gain a resource, go back to 8. Jacqueline will gain a resource and go to 4. Mandy draws. You handle this one. Fast, play after you draw a non-peril encounter card, but before resolving that card's effects. Choose another investigator. That investigator is considered to have drawn the card instead. Gain 1 resource. Jacqueline draws. Word of Command. Ooh. Name a spell card, search your deck for 1 copy of the named card and draw it, shuffle your deck. We are probably going to need that very soon, but end of round, Court of the Great Old Ones, it fills back up to 6. And then Mythos phase, we advance the agenda, because we were at 4 Doom on it. Rejoice, for the end is near. Somehow, you're not the only human here. They are but mindless husks, almost entirely devoid of humanity, nothing but flesh, muscle, and bone, preserved for eternity in their single-minded passion, kneeling and chanting in foul worship, Azathoth, Azathoth, the end has come. Each cultist enemy commits ritual suicide. Discard each cultist enemy in play and move all doom from them to Azathoth, but there are no cultists in play right now. The lead investigator must search the encounter deck and discard pile for a copy of Demonic Piping and draw it. So we now have another copy next to the agenda deck. Let's see. Demonic Piping. So we're up to 2 next to the agenda deck now, which means we need to be careful because our third one will spawn the Piper of Azathoth, and that's not something I want to see right now. I'll make sure I shuffle that other copy of Demonic Piping nice and deep. We'll give that a cut. All right, so that's all handled. All right. Endless walkways and steps of black stone are the only routes which guide you to your destination. It is an impossible maze to navigate. Check campaign log. If Gilman's journal is listed under mementos discovered, you are able to find your way. Otherwise, you become hopelessly lost. Each investigator must either move to the location to his or her left, or move the placement of his or her location once to the left, placing an empty space in the spot it previously occupied. A location cannot move more than once via this effect. I'm pretty sure we have Gilman's journal. What did I do with the campaign log? We do have Gilman's journal, so we're able to leave that alone. Agenda 2A. It awaits. The boundless Daemon Sultan Azathoth, whose name no lips dare speak aloud, and who gnaws hungrily in inconceivable, unlighted chambers beyond time amidst the muffled, maddening beating of vile drums and the thin, monotonous whine of accursed flutes. H.P. Lovecraft, The Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath. All the same reminders, and 6 doom to advance, except we have 2 thanks to Azathoth. So after all that, into encounter cards, Mandy draws Ultimate Chaos. Revelation, test Will 4. If you fail, attach Ultimate Chaos to Azathoth. If you fail by 2 or more, take 1 damage and 1 horror. If you fail by 3 or more, Ultimate Chaos gains Surge. Can't be cancelled. If there are 3 copies of Ultimate Chaos attached to Azathoth, discard them and either place 1 Doom on Azathoth, or Azathoth attacks each investigator in player order. Can't be cancelled. Yeah, we do not want that happening for, obvious reasons. Will 4. Jacqueline would be up 2 dealing with that. It's a non-peril, thankfully. Jacqueline would be up 2. Actually, she'd be up more than that, probably. Yeah, I think we will have Jacqueline handle this one. So Jacqueline gets that card. Mandy gains a resource going up to 9. So Jacqueline up 2 on that. I will have Jacqueline commit... Let's have her commit Occult Theory. So it gains will icons equal to her lore, so that's another 3. Jacqueline is at 6, 9. She's up 5, and I'm going to put her special ability behind this because I really do not want to fail this. One, two, three. Okay. Token 1. The Elder Thing, which is probably nothing good. Skull and another skull. So let's take a look at our tokens. I know the skull is going to be a -2. The Elder Thing would be a -4. If your modified skill value for this test is 0, place 1 Doom on Azathoth. So I will cancel the Elder Thing and one of the skulls, which means Jacqueline doesn't fail the test, thankfully. That is a major league relief there. And then Jacqueline draws. Wizard of the Order. Spawn any empty location. Retaliate. Forced. At the end of the Mythos phase, place 1 Doom on Order of the Wizard. So I'll put him down at the empty Cosmos location. We have to put a Doom on him. Alright, so that wasn't too bad. But anyway, speaking of the end of the Mythos phase, Mandy will exhaust Ancestral Knowledge to draw another skill, so she will draw. Quick Thinking. Question mark on commit. If you're successful by 2 or more after it resolves, you may immediately take an action as if it were your turn. This action does not count toward the number of actions you can take each turn. So moving into the investigation phase now, we'll send it over to Mandy and we'll move over to the map. Action 1 for Mandy will be to investigate. She's up 2 right now. I'll commit Opportunist and Quick Thinking to go up 4. If I succeed by 2 or more, I get an extra action, and if I succeed by 3 or more, I get Opportunist back to my hand. So I'm up 4. Skull, as we saw earlier, is -2, so I don't get Opportunist back to my hand, but I do get to take an extra action this turn. So there's the 4 clues. Before we jump into that, though, we are going to spend the 4 clues to advance the agenda. Or advance the act, I should say. The winged creature lands on a winding walkway of black stone, extending into a ceaseless horizon of pitched void. It takes some prodding and encouragement before your steed continues onward. Even the most dreadful of beasts are terrified of this place, it seems. Yet still, you can hear the mindless chanting of those who dwell closest to the Daemon Sultan, the maddening whispers of the pipers, the monotonous drum beats which thrum endlessly in your mind. Remove Hideous Palace from the game. Shuffle each location in play other than the Court of the Great Old Ones into the Cosmos. Each investigator at those locations is left behind and killed. Each enemy at those locations is shuffled into the top 5 cards of the encounter deck. Take the set-aside Black Throne and the top 3 cards of the Cosmos and shuffle them so you cannot tell which is which. Then put them into play along with player cards, along with empty space as depicted in location placement for Act 3 in the campaign guide. In player order, each investigator draws the top card of the encounter deck. So once again, I'm going to cut to that off camera, and we'll come back to the map when we're all set. All right, so I gotta move the camera back just, trying to figure out how I want to do this so you can see everything. Because there's actually one more Cosmos location down here that's just barely in shot, but you can kind of see the rough idea here. So now we've got four special Cosmos locations in place. Of course, one of them will be the location that we need. So Act 3A, what must be done? You are close now. You can feel the churning and twisting of aeons in the emptiness around you. Here, in the nucleus of all things, the very center of chaos itself, your objective and your ultimate fate lie at hand. Same action as before. Objective: if the lead investigator, aka Mandy, is at the Black Throne and there are no clues on it, advance. But before we do that, we need to draw the top card of the encounter deck, or we need to draw cards from the encounter deck. So Mandy draws Fate of All Fools. Revelation: if there's no other copy of Fate of All Fools in play, put Fate of All Fools in play in your threat area. Otherwise, an investigator with another copy of Fate of All Fools in their threat area draws the top card of the encounter deck. Card gains peril, its effects can't be cancelled, and cards can't be committed to skill test while resolving its revelation effect. And then Jacqueline draws Unavoidable Demise. Oh boy. Revelation test agility 2. If you fail, we saw this earlier, but it's also got the Eye of Truth committed to it. So Jacqueline is up 4, and I think that's where she'll test. Skull, as we saw, is -2, so that actually, because that passes, we do put it into play next to the agenda deck. So we've got a lot of stuff going on next to the agenda deck right now, but anyway, getting a little bit ahead of myself there. Mandy has a quick thinking action, which will be to spend 2 resources to play out her Eon chart. So during your turn, exhaust Eon chart and spend 1 secret. Choose and take 2 of the following actions in any order. Move, evade, or investigate. So, I will grab I'm only going to grab 2 secrets for that, because I'm immediately going to spend a charge from it to take 2 investigate actions. Here we are. We need another exhaustion marker. Unfortunately, Mandy is hellbent right now. She's got no cards in hand, so these are all going to be basic investigate actions. She's up 2, though. -1 gets her a clue. And second investigate action, still up 2. Elder Thing, uh-oh. As we saw, is -4. If your modified skill value for this test is 0, place a doom on Azathoth. It still is 2, but Mandy fails. So for action 2, we will spend a clue to put another location from the Cosmos deck into play. I don't know I don't think I'm picky right now about what connection I make. All it's doing is just committing me to where I want to go first. So we find you must either connect to the right or lose 2 resources and connect to an adjacent location in a direction of your choice. After you move to Dancer's Mist, remove 1 scenario from the reference card, move to a connecting location. This time we're not going to do that, but we are going to connect to the right with 2 clues, and Mandy will move to it. So it's just shuffling the empty space that we replaced Dancer's Mist with into Mandy's deck. Then action 3, Mandy will investigate. She's up 3. Skull is still a -2, so Mandy will get a clue, which means we should be able to make another location connection next turn. But anyway, that will do it for Mandy. Jacqueline's action 1. I probably am going to end up playing Word of Command this turn, but before I do, I'm going to play Emergency Cash level 2 to gain 3 resources and draw a card. So Jacqueline goes up to 7 resources and draws another Storm of Spirits, which I'm not real happy to see right now. Action 2, I'll move Jacqueline over to Dancer's Mist. And then action 3 for 2 resources, I'm going to play Word of Command. So I can name a spell card and search my deck for 1 copy of the named card and draw it, shuffling my deck. Light for the saving of our eyes, heat for the saving of our skin, a spark for the saving of our souls. I don't think I used Mandy's ability this turn. So action 2 is to move over to Mandy. This is action 3. What do I want to do with this ability? Given that we're close to having the Piper come out on the next draw of Demonic Piping, I think I kind of want a Shriveling here, actually. Because I know one more copy of Demonic... Like I said, I know one more copy of Demonic Piping brings the Piper out, but there's also Wizard of the Dark Order in the top 3 cards left of the deck. So I'm going to grab a copy of Shriveling. So I've already searched the deck, fished it out. There was a copy buried toward the bottom. I'll plan on playing that out next round. I could have gone and gotten a second copy of Shriveling, which might not have been a completely terrible idea, but I'm already committed to finishing the search now. So, Shriveling. 3 cost to play, will 2 combat on commit. Uses 4 charges. As an action, spend a charge to fight using will instead of combat. +3 skill value and deal +2 damage for the attack. But if you pull a bad symbol, take 2 horror. So Word of Command is gone. Enemy phase, we have no enemies in play right now. So we'll go ahead and ready everything. And then we'll move back up top for the upkeep phase. Mandy gains 1 resource and goes to 8. Jacqueline gains 1 and goes to 6. Mandy draws. Pentalone. 1 cost to play, lore, wildcard on commit. After it enters play, draw 2 cards. When you initiate a non-lore test, discard Pantalone to use lore for this test instead of the skill indicated. Jacqueline draws. Arcane Studies that we shuffled away earlier. Mythos phase, we got our first Doom on the agenda, but we're at 3 thanks to Azathoth. Mandy draws. The aforementioned Wizard of the Order. So what direction are we looking to go in first? So looking at the map, I'd like to make an up or a down connection first. So I'm going to put the Wizard of the Order at the bottom Cosmos location. We'll try to connect there first. But mostly so Jacqueline can go deal with that right away. Jacqueline draws. An Acolyte as well. So we'll put that on the right... We'll put that on the bottom right Cosmos location. So both of them get Doom on them, which means we're advancing next round. So I want to try to make a... connection that can go kill one of them. Probably the Wizard of the Order. So in the investigation phase, let's move over to Mandy, and let's move over to the map. I just turned the light down a little bit on this side so the glare isn't as bad. But anyway, at the end of the round, that should have refilled to 6 clues. Anyway, action 1 for Mandy is going to be to investigate. She's up 3 trying to get another clue. +1 gets her a clue. Then action 2, I'm going to spend the 2 clues to draw the top 2 cards of the Cosmos deck and choose one of them. Like I said, I'm looking for either an up or a down connection, and I probably prefer a down connection only because I can then send Jacqueline to go kill that Wizard of the Order. So first card up. Cosmos, connect into a direction of my choice. Shroud of 4, 2 clues. After I enter pathway into the void, I must either discard a card from my hand or take a damage. I can move... Okay, so never mind that. Or... Cosmos, I either connect above or take 2 horror and move and connect to the topmost location revealed in a direction of my choice. So I can make an up or a down connection, but I would have to discard a card from my hand, and I've got Pantalone right now. So I'm actually, if I remember right, let's see, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we are advancing next turn at the end of the Mythos phase, and if this agenda does a similar thing to what the if this agenda does similar to what the last agenda did, we'll be putting 2 Doom up on Azathoth, which really isn't that bad. We won't even be halfway home at that point. So I think, and the Wizard of the Order Doom goes up, would get Doom at the end of the Mythos phase. So yeah, I think we actually don't care about the Wizard of the Order now that I actually look and stop being a derp. So I think we will use Flight into Oblivion to make an up connection. So Shroud of 2 gets a clue on it. That shuffles back into Mandy's deck. And I'll shuffle that shuffles back into the Cosmos, so I'll deal with that in a second. I mostly want to see if I can find I'm mostly seeing if I can find the Black Throne quickly, and I can remove a resource to move it once up, but I won't be able to move Flight into Oblivion up 1. So basically I'm committing to the Black Throne being up. We'll find out if it is soon enough, though. Alright, so there's a cut, and I'll shuffle Pathway into the Void, or Pathway into Void back into the Cosmos. Alright, so there's a cut there. Okay, and then Mandy will exhaust Eon... Actually, she has to move up there. Mandy will still exhaust Eon Chart, though, to take and investigate first. Right now she's up 4. Skull is still -2, so she gets a clue from there. And then for her second Eon Chart action, she will move up and we'll find out what this Cosmos location is. Oh wow, we've gotten really lucky. The Black Throne. The Black Throne gets X Shroud, where X is half the Doom on Azathoth, rounded up. Shroud of 1, 4 clues. Haunted, you must either place 1 Doom on Azathoth or Azathoth attacks you. The ultimate knighted throne of the Daemon Azathoth in this formless central void. H.P. Lovecraft, The Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath. So that gets 4 clues there. So that's a Shroud of 2. Wow. We've gotten really lucky this scenario. So now we probably don't care about the Wizard of the Order, and with 2 actions left, gets plus X, where X is half the doom on Azathoth rounded up. So yeah, that's a Shroud of 2. Wow. Actually, I forgot to exhaust Ancestral Knowledge and draw the last skill from under that. So Mandy draws. Quick thinking. Oh my. If the skill test is successful by 2 or more, after it resolves, you may immediately take an action as if it were your turn, yada yada yada. We need 2 more clues up there. Yeah, well, I think we just go to work. So action 2 will be to investigate. That's a Shroud of 2. Mandy's up 4. Elder Thing cancels out the up 4, but we do get a clue off of there. And then for action 3, I'll run that back and I'll commit Quick Thinking to go up 5. And get an extra action if I succeed. Skull is still minus X, where X is half the doom on Azathoth rounded up to a minimum of 2. So Mandy succeeds by 3, gets another clue, and then a Quick Thinking action. We'll run the Investigate back, so still up 4. Skull is another minus 2, so Mandy gets a 3rd clue off of the location, and we have, and I think this is nothing cute. So for actions 1 and 2, Jacqueline will move up to the Black Throne. Then action 3, Jacqueline will run probably a basic Investigate. So she's at 3, she's up 1. We'll commit Arcane Studies to go up 3, and I'll put Jacqueline's ability behind this. One, 2, 3. Okay. Card 1, or token 1 is a 0. Token 2, a skull, and the tentacle. So we do have to cancel the tentacle, but minus 2 is still enough to pass Jacqueline. So we get the last clue off the location, and coming back to the act, if the lead investigator is at the Black Throne, which Mandy is, and there are no clues on it, which there are no clues there, advance. Alright, the end. You stand on a precipice before the Black Throne and gaze up at the blind, voiceless monstrosity that is Azathoth. The mere sight of it causes your vision to blur and your body to shake uncontrollably. The monotonous piping in your head is so loud now, it rattles your bones and causes blood to drip from your eyes and ears. Should Azathoth awaken, it will devour every world that ever was. Check campaign log. If at least 2 of the following are true, you may proceed to R2. You accepted your fate. Mesmerizing Flute is listed under Mementos Discovered, and Ritual Components is listed under Mementos Discovered. If at least 2 of the following are true, you may proceed to R3. You rejected your fate. Scrap of Torn Shadow is listed under Mementos Discovered, and Wisp of Spectral Mist is listed under Mementos Discovered. If Strange Incantation and Bloody Tree Carvings are listed under Mementos Discovered, you may proceed to R6. Otherwise, R4. So let me take a look at the campaign log. I'm going to do this off camera. Say that 5 times fast. Let's see. We rejected our fate, so that's not true. Mesmerizing Flute and Ritual Components Okay, so ritual components are not listed, which means we can't go to R2. R3, Rejected Our Fate. Scrap of Torn Shadows not listed, but Wisp of Spectral Mist is. Strange Incantation and Bloody Tree Carvings are not. You may proceed to R6. Otherwise, R4. So we have our choices from R3 or R4. I think I will go to Resolution... Let's go to Resolution... I have 3 or 4 to choose from. Let's go to Resolution 4. So let's move back up top for Resolution 4. We're back up top, so let's go into Resolution 4.
Resolution 4. You have reached the Knighted Throne of Azathoth, but there is no easy way to reach the creature from here, and even if you did, you're not sure what you could do to stop it. You cannot kill it, and even attempting to harm it would only risk stirring it. Desperate, you turn to Kazai's Black Book for answers. A quill appears in your hand as you open the tome, and a voice from beyond reaches your ears. Sign it with blood. Take a new secret name, and your desire shall become truth. You and your world will be spared. You know it is the voice of evil, the voice Walter Gilman heard, which surely led to his demise, the voice which seduced Keziah Mason and led to this path in the first place. But what other choice do you have? The investigators must decide. Choose one. It must be done. Proceed to Resolution 5. This will doom you. I refuse. Proceed to Resolution 1. This will doom the universe.
Well, after everything we've went through to save the universe, I don't think we have a choice, so we are going to Resolution 5. It must be done.
4. You have reached the throne of Azathoth.
Hold on there, Speedy Gonzalez. Resolution 5.
Resolution 5. Pricking your arm with the quill, you sign in blood. In your campaign log, record Azathoth slumbers. For now. In your campaign log, record the investigators signed the Black Book of Azathoth. Each investigator earns experience equal to the Victory X value of each card in the Victory display. Each investigator earns 10 bonus experience as they have learned the innermost secrets of the Black Book. Each investigator suffers 2 physical and 2 mental trauma, the consequences of their pact with Azathoth's messenger. The investigators win the campaign.
Okay, so I gotta make some notes off camera here. So let's see. Azathoth slumbers. For now. And the investigators signed the Black Book of Azathoth. And we picked up 10 bonus experience. Jacqueline left 1 floating. 0, 10, actually 11 for Jacqueline. 10 for Mandy, but they both picked up 2 trauma apiece. So 2 physical and 2 mental trauma from their pact with Azathoth's messenger. So anyway, now we have an epilogue. So let's see here.
Read the following only if the investigators signed the Black Book of Azathoth.
There we are.
In your dream, a tall man approaches. His grin is full of malice. It is time to pay your due, he announces. You got what you wanted. Now it is my turn.
That does not sound good at all for our ladies. But anyway, that will do it for Return to Before the Black Throne. Later this week, we'll wrap the fall campaign officially, and then we're going to use November as a break from the Arkham Horror files, but not from the Cthulhu mythos. Though we won't be back into the mythos until the end of the month. Next week, we're going to step back into the background campaign for Hero Realms. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.